Dear friends, happy Thanksgiving. I know that you might not celebrate this day if you're in Europe or somewhere else on the planet, but I've lived in the States for 10 years. My son was actually born there. And I have ancestors who immigrated to the United States, and they were among the first ones who celebrated Thanksgiving. So I am touched on this day because I think it's beautiful to have one day a year dedicated to gratitude. Now, why does it make sense to do a leadership broadcast about Thanksgiving and gratitude? It's because it's actually a very, very useful leadership skill. First of all, are you even grateful you have a job or you have a company or you have a business? It's a good day to be grateful for that because it's not granted for everyone on the planet. Some people struggle every single day to make ends meet. And if you have a job or you have a business, you're among the lucky ones. And be grateful for that because we never know how long that will last. How long will it take before AI replaces what we humans are good at? And how are we going to adapt to a future where we cannot take our jobs, our companies, our businesses for granted? So a good day to be grateful for what we have, because that's always planting the seeds for the future. And it's healthy seeds when we plant them in grateful soil. And that brings me to another leadership lesson from Thanksgiving or the Gratitude Day, which is what you plant in terms of seeds, you tend to harvest. So also a good day to reflect on what seeds are you planting, and are you willing to harvest what these seeds bring? So as leaders, it can be tempting to be someone who is looking for mistakes in employees' work and also being annoyed when things don't go your way, or being even some leaders actually have a little pleasure in throwing fits at their employees and their colleagues. We often get triggered as humans, but is that the kind of seeds you really want to plant? Because there is a tendency that what goes around comes around, so it tends to come back to ourselves. And it's something that I'm quite aware of because I also get irritated sometimes. But it's just important to be aware. Are you willing to receive that kind of behavior yourself? And are you willing to receive what comes back that way? Also, in terms of what are you working with? So a lot of people go to work every day and actually contribute to something that they might not want to experience. Pollution, more control, more technology that's getting out of hand, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. You know yourself what kind of business you're in and what you're contributing to. And I think a lot of the reasons why 71% of us, 71%, that's 2/3 of the population, over 2/3, are disengaged in their work is because they don't really feel proud or really committed to what they're contributing to. So a day like this, or any day, is also a good opportunity to think about, are you planting seeds for the future with how you are using your life force every day? Or is it time to stop and reflect? What do I actually want to contribute to? What kind of future do I want to create? Because every single day, we are all planting seeds for the future, whether we are aware of it or not, with our thoughts, with our emotions, with what we deliver to the ether, because we all do that every single day. We are all affecting the collective field, but also with our actions and the purpose for which we work. And I think that more and more people are getting done with only working for the next quarter, only working for a better bottom line. It simply is too narrow, and it doesn't give that satisfaction that comes from really, really contributing to something that feels deeply meaningful, and where you're able to give back the privileges you have received to the world, but also to plant some seeds for a brighter future. So if you are just so happy with your job, maybe it's a good opportunity to think of how could you make adjustments so that you would be even more grateful for going to work every day and knowing that the seeds you're planting every single day are some that will result in a brighter future, not only for yourself, but also for your loved ones, for the generations to come, and for the future of our planet. It's interesting with this giving aspect of Thanksgiving, because it's a day where we actually give thanks. But there's an interesting aspect about that, which is about receiving, because I've often experienced that giving is actually the same as receiving. There's a famous Franciscan monk, St. Francis, who has written this beautiful poem about giving is receiving. And it took me a little while before I really felt that. And today I know that's a universal truth. When you give from an open heart, you receive as you are giving. So it's also a good reminder that we've been so educated or so trained in being preoccupied with amassing material goods and getting to ourselves, so just extracting and taking from the world because of to feed our own well-being. But in actuality, when we start giving generously, we actually feel so much better. There's science that affirms that. So also a good day to think of, how can you be more generous in your leadership and in your life? Generosity is not only material, as you know, it's also about supporting other people. It's about lifting other people. It's about that little extra mile that makes the difference, where you just are a little bit considerate about other people's well-being and not only about yourself. And this is, I know it's banal what I'm saying, but still, I think all of us need to be reminded from time to time, at least I do myself, because as much as I work with this, it's a daily discipline or a daily dedication to a brighter future. And it takes, sometimes a little bit of adjusting of your own behavior. At least it does for me. So this giving generously from an open heart is actually a big gift to the world. And I really believe that it plants seeds for a brighter future. And I think as leaders, the more generous we are, the more our team is willing to go that extra mile. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of material goods. It can also just be the generosity of staying with a team member, although you sometimes consider, could this be done differently, or giving people an extra chance, or being loyal to people who've been loyal to you, or, looking out for each other. I think that this is also a good day to remember that the people who came to the United States as immigrants, the first immigrants, and actually immigrants on the whole, how do they get by? And that's actually by helping each other. And so I think it's also a good day to remember that we are only as privileged as our relationships and the people that we help, so that we are also, there are also people who are willing to help us when we need it. We are in a world of crisis, and I know from experience that what gets people through crisis is actually each other. So when we're generous to other people, we are also more likely to experience that if we get in trouble of some kind, there are also people who are willing to help us. I think it's good to remember that. And then in terms of gratitude, it's just interesting that science is now affirming that it's the fastest way to happiness. And what does that have to do with leadership? Well, it has to do with leadership in the sense that if you come into your team, or if you come to your work and as a leader is grateful for the people who help you and for the job you do, and exude that gratitude, and remember to thank people for their effort, and are grateful yourself, you just emanate a different kind of energy in the room, and that can be measured now. So it makes a huge difference. And it also makes a neurological difference. And I think that what we can be grateful for as well these days is that we're getting a lot more knowledge about how the brain actually works. And it's quite simple, because when we are fearful and negative, we close down a little bit more, and we tend to get more into the reptile brain that doesn't have many creative opportunities or creative possibilities. When we are grateful and when we are happy, it opens, and that opens for creativity. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been saved by creativity. It's the number one thing that saves me out of any crisis, is inspiration, ideas for how to renew, how to regenerate, how to turn a crisis into a quantum leap. So we are very dependent on creativity when we look at all the problems in the world that we need to solve somehow. So gratitude is actually an opener for that. And many people have healed themselves through gratitude, to just being grateful for every single second we cannot take for granted. I mean, who is responsible for your breath? It's not yourself, for sure. We cannot take our breath for granted. So being grateful for this life and for every single moment is also something that is good for our immune system. It's good for our well-being. It's good for our happiness, our ability to be generous to other people. So it's really a tool for not only a good life as a parent and as an individual and as a partner, but also as leaders and citizens of the world. And then I think we can also be grateful that we are in dark times, in this particular sense, that the darker it gets around us, the more we are motivated to look for the light and to see the light and find the light in different places. And it's also great to know that it's always darkest before dawn. So that's a good little thing to remember in these times. I mean, literally, I'm sitting in Copenhagen. It's been dark all day. I mean, almost all day. So it's just like something to get used to this in the winter time, and to use constructively, because all new things, everything new is born out of darkness. All new seeds are maturing in darkness. So it's actually amazing that we have these couple of months in darkness in this northern hemisphere, at least, where we can cultivate the new. So what is the new that you want to give birth to in the spring? A great opportunity to think of that and plant those seeds in the gratitude of this Thanksgiving. So just a few words from me today to celebrate this day. I've been very, very grateful all day, just for being alive, for the beautiful people around me. Thank you for you who are watching this. Thank you for the people who are supporting my work. Thank you for the people who come to my courses. Thank you for the people who criticize me so I learn from that. Thank you for my beautiful team who helped me and who are very steadfast, and that I'm very grateful for. And also that they bear with me when I am, I can be me in many, many ways. Let me just put it that way, like you probably can yourself. Thank you so much for every single effort you make every single day to create a better world. I mean, every single little act of lifting others, of expressing your gratitude, we really make a difference for each other. It's just like one little comment or one little expression of gratitude or one support. I mean, it just means so much to all of us. So it's we are used to thinking of gratitude and positive emotion as something banal. We don't really need to, worry about, because we are into being productive and focused and making some money. But it's actually all the other stuff that makes the difference in the quality of life. And so I want to thank you for being aware of that and for using every opportunity you have to be grateful and to spread beautiful, good energy and to plant the future from a beautiful mind and an open heart. It really makes a difference. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your life, and hopefully see you soon.